So let's take a look at this gentleman as he tries to kind of identify the ways that affirmative action are discriminatory towards the Asian community. He lacks understanding on the civil rights, obviously. He lacks empathy. He lacks the understanding that Black Americans are the benefactors uh, of most of these civil rights. A lot of the immigrant community has come into this country and been bigger benefactors to a lot of our rights that my grandparents fought for those rights. And for this individual to think to try to strike it down with the rest of the Asian community is kind of mind-boggling. But let's take a listen to what he's got to say.
All across America, because we shouldn't be judging students based on their race when we're deciding who gets into what schools. I think that I believe that your previous guest is mistaken in this regard, because I think that by getting rid of affirmative action, now we look at the individual student and what they've accomplished, and we can look at what barriers they've overcome. But we view them as an individual first and foremost, as opposed to just viewing them as a blob in an amorphous larger racial group, as opposed to just under this new system, we get to view students for who they are as individuals. And I think that's a much better way to go forward on this topic.
You heard Booby's point there, though, that this now forces students, if they want the school to take into account race in some fashion or form, that they're going to have to now write about this.
Right. Well, I think that fundamentally, right, for most people, race is just a characteristic. It's sort of the way that your body manifests. I think that for some students that does play a role in how they experience the world, but for some students it doesn't. And I think that allowing them that option to express that in an essay, for instance, affords much more freedom, because race doesn't affect everybody the same way. And to just have a blanket policy where everybody's race is considered no matter what, I don't think that's appropriate, because it impacts different people in different ways. I find that a lot of these arguments oftentimes in favor of affirmative action are somewhat incongruous, because I've heard a lot of people that say, like, hey, affirmative action, it's a good way to overcome past discrimination. But in my experience, as an Asian American,
So this gentleman thinks discrimination is a thing of the past. Uh, no, it's not a thing of the past. We're experiencing it right now. We just see the trick of white supremacy. They got the buffer class, which is the Asian community, to do their work. Um, they're out in the forefront of this, trying to knock this down because they think there's some big gain that they can have. Black Americans aren't the overpopulated community in these colleges. If you look at it, it's legacy white kids. It's kids that barely could pass the SATs, but they got a grandparent, they got an uncle, they got a parent that can actually put a library in a school. This is about the Asian community battling white society, and they started picking at something that was put in place for a Black American to benefit off of, which we actually don't really. Uh, Affirmative action has probably been more beneficial to the Asian community, and they don't understand that. But
I'm not exactly sure how that works for me, because it's much more difficult for Asian Americans to gain admittance to schools than for white students, for instance. And I don't think that you'll see in the past any instance of Asians discriminating against whites. So for me, that sort of just falls flat. I'm going to Brown next year, and I'm happy that the admissions officers at Brown took me for whatever reason. But it does make me feel a little bit uncomfortable knowing that in that admissions office, when they were deciding whether they were going to accept me, reject me, that they might have been considering my race, because I think that that's not something that I can control or that anyone can control. And I think that it's unfair to judge someone based on that when there are really so many better ways to judge students based on their character, based on their accomplishments. Race, it's just how you're born, and you can't change it.
So like I said, it doesn't make sense then. Affirmative action wasn't something that was benefiting the white community. So you have an issue with white society, but you take it out on the Black community. It's fucking ass backwards. It's really ass backwards. So as Black Americans over the last couple of weeks, we've kind of gone on this nationwide boycott here in the United States. It's kind of been sparked from the last episode with Mr. Chow chasing down a boy 160 yards out of his store and shooting him in the back. Or shooting him. I don't know if it was in the back. But this has been going on for a second, and it's not just that incident. That joint was just one of them that just brought us some clarity to what we're doing. The Asian community is against us. We're not lockstep with these people. The immigrant community is against us. They've been tricked into thinking that, hey, we the pinata. We need to be beat on as much as possible. You need to go to these people's communities that we've been redlined into, open the establishment, open a store, and try to benefit off of black pain. It should be no issue that the black community is staying out of your stores. You got a great community, you got a great relationship with white people, they should fill a void. So black Americans, we're delineating from everybody. That black and brown stuff is gone. It's a thing of the past. That term people of color, we're not getting lumped into that. We don't even want the label African American. We don't want that. We don't benefit off of that. My grandparents are from Shreveport, Louisiana, on my father's side. My mother's side is from Englewood, New Jersey. We don't have any ties to Africa to be labeled that, and we're delineating from every and all. It's one of the best things that we could possibly do in our new civil rights fight, because I don't believe Martin Luther King, who's been at the forefront of the civil rights movement as a key leader, this is not what his vision was, to have us at odds with the Asian community or the immigrant community at whole. Malcolm X, he had a different vision. He did not want us to be involved with these people in this manner, because he kind of stated this would be the results. So we're having a come to Jesus moment, actually, as a black American community. We're kind of pushing back on all. And there's a lot of communities that they don't like it. They're going to have to find a new business plan that's not centered at, we're not the centerpiece anymore. We're not going to be going into your establishments, and then as soon as we step in, you're monitoring us and thinking we're going to steal something. And if there's any idea of theft, that could turn into a life-threatening situation. We're not having that no more. We're done with that. I'll stay home. I get my nails done. I'll do my own nails. I go to a black barber. As a black American male, I don't frequently shop at these people's shops anyway. So we're trying to keep our women out of these stores, which the Asian communities kind of identified and pinpointed that they can make a ton of money off of us, our black American women, especially with hair products, makeup, eyelashes and stuff like that. They're making a killing. Weaves can go for upwards of $400, $500, some with thousands. It can get extensively pricey. Our women spend a lot of time in their nail shops and nail salons, and you can look up footage of black women getting beat on and jumped in nail salons by groups of Asians as just a dispute over services or finances or something like that. But it can be something very minute and petty, and then they whoop on that lady's ass like it's no tomorrow. So it's just time to continue to keep their foot on their neck and stay out of the establishments. So if you guys think I'm in the wrong, jump in that comment bar and tell me about myself. I would like for y'all to like and subscribe so we can keep this channel going, start building on this channel and building on content. Y'all have a good one and keep delineating, y'all. Peace.